Hello, welcome to It's All About the Yarn Knitting Podcast, Episode 2. My name is Kate, and I'm coming to you from southeastern Idaho in the western part of the United States. So, what is this podcast about? It's about my creative practice. I knit, I spin, I dye, I weave, and I make mixed media art. I won't cover all of those things in every podcast because even though you want to do it all, you can't do it all at the same time. But I will always be talking about knitting and about yarn. So you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry by my handle Kate Spin. And if you find this content interesting, make sure that you subscribe so you know when I will be posting again. Right now, it's probably a month and a half apart, so but I'm hoping to do them quicker than that in the future. So let's get to what I'm actually working on. My main project is the Corran Cardigan by Rebecca Clow from Cardigan is her knitting podcast, and okay, this is what it looks like. It matches my shirt today. Isn't that interesting? Okay, let's see. So it's a lace pattern, all over lace, in a very beautiful shade of blue. I am making this out of Pearl Soho's knitting yarn. That's the name of it. It's called knitting yarn. I forgot to write down the color name for you, so I'll put that in the show notes. I'm getting close to that being finished, so pretty excited about that. I've been trying to make it really my main focus, as it'll probably be a sweater I wear to Rhinebeck. All my other projects have gone the wayside in not a good way. So let's talk about them. I said I was going to do the Stephen West knit along for his contrast blast socks. Well, this is as far as I got. When I made a mistake in there's a little cable right when you start. I made a mistake in that I have to rip out, and I never got around to ripping it out. So as the new clues came, I looked at them, but I didn't get any further than that with it, unfortunately. The other thing that I talked about in my last episode was this violet, this one. It's a cute pattern, violet, but I think the yarn that I picked for it, either for some reason I don't like knitting with it, or because I'm used to knitting with wool or silk all the time. This is a cotton wool blend. There's really nothing wrong with the yarn, but I just don't like the way it feels. I don't necessarily like the way the fabric feels either, so I kind of decided I'm going to rip it out and probably try and put the yarn in my place to sell it in on Ravelry. It's by Wool Dreamers. It's a nice yarn. I guess I just don't like some cotton yarns. It's called Sayona, right there. So if you're all interested, go to my Ravelry page because I will have put that up there. I think I have 4 or 5 balls of it. It's a pretty soft color green, but just for some reason, it's just not floating my boat. Have you ever bought some yarn and then, sorry, I got hair in my mouth, and not liked what it's making? This has happened to me once before. I bought, back in 2020, I bought some Loft by Brooklyn Tweed, which is a lovely yarn. A lot of people knit with it and like it, but when I knit it up in what I was going to make, I didn't like the way the fabric felt, so I ended up giving the yarn away. So it's happened before, it'll probably happen again. That's what happens when you buy yarn online all of the time. So I really kind of set those ones aside, and since I decided I wasn't going to work on sweaters very much, I tried to pick up old projects, and I just have not been able to get into any of them. Let's see, so let me talk about what I want to be working on next as soon as the sweater's finished. There's a pattern. Let me grab the pattern so you can see what it looks like. It's called Color Block, and it is right here. It's done with mini skeins, 10 different mini skeins. The designer's handle is Letty's Knits, And she's actually Justina, and I can't say the last name. I will just totally destroy it, but I will put it in the show notes. She is a Polish designer. And when I saw the pattern, I thought, you have a million mini skeins. And I do, because during the pandemic, I would buy from Carolyn Greenwood Fiberworks, and every time she did a colorway, I would buy the midi skeins as well. I'm trying to put these in the order that I had them so you can see what my initial idea is. I may end up changing it a little, but they're pretty much just all jewel tones, and I can't hold them all at once. So, going from purples, so those are the purples, to blue and green, and then more red violets into the pink. And I will separate all the colors with white, just like it's done in the pattern. Let me show you the pattern again, just like it's done in the pattern. So that's a future project that I'm excited to be getting. I'm in the planning stages for that. So the other thing that I am going to be making is the Alpine Bloom, and this is next on the list. I have ordered the yarn through the design. This is the design by Caitlin Hunter. I think you could see what it looks like. It's very lovely, and it was the color that drew me in. Turquoise is a big favorite color of mine, so I really just wanted to get the yarn that this was made in, and of course there was none of it left, and so I had to wait for the dyer to dye more. So it's supposed to come in the mail today, so I'm excited about that, to get started with it. And I have another friend who's actually working on the same sweater. She's actually the one who showed me the pattern. So we're both going to be working on it together, which will be fun. I did talk about doing the verniculus also, and I'm going to use this hand-spun yarn. Hopefully, I knit a swatch yesterday, and it's being washed as we speak. So we'll see if that gauge, if it came out or how the fabric looks, and then I'll make the final decision if that's the yarn I'm going to use. That's a knit along with the Black Sheep Knitter. That she's starting that knit along in September 1st. So I'm going to use this time frame to just work on some swatches and make sure that will work out, that the yarn will work out, that I'm getting the right gauge, and so that when the knit along starts, I don't have to spend all my time doing that, which I have done before. I have a tendency to get excited about a knit along, and then I get started, and then I get stalled, and then it's a whip for a long time. But I do like starting things with a group. There's something about the energy that just feels fabulous when you're doing it with other people. And the same friend who's doing the Alpine Glow, named Debbie, is going to also do the knit along with me. So that will be fun to have someone locally who's working on the same thing. So let me show you some of the acquisitions I've got, and there are a lot of them. I'm warning you. I bought this skein from Kevin, the dyer at Needles in the Ready podcast, and Needles at the Ready. But the colorway is called Monster U, but it's just lots of blues and greens, which are favorites of mine. I think it was just a beautiful skein of yarn. I'm just going to add it to some other things at some point. No idea of what I'm going to make or anything, which is sometimes the way I end up buying yarn. The other thing that I have here that I wanted to show is some of the things that I got at the Copper K Fiber Festival. It was held up in Montana, Whitehall, Montana, middle of nowhere on a farm. And and this was from Lone Pine Wool Emporium. And this is a fingering weight blue-faced. It's just a beautiful sheen. I don't know if you'll see that through that, but I got a couple skeins. There's a lot of yardage in it, so not sure if I'll knit. I don't think I'll knit something white. I'll probably dye this at some point, but it is beautiful. Just a beautiful yarn. The other thing, the reason that I went up to that festival was I heard there were some Cormo breeders, and so there would be a number of people who had Cormo, and I haven't spun Cormo in a long time, so I just took a day trip up with a friend. This location is about 3.5 hours away, so we just drove up, went shopping, visited with people for a while, and then drove home. And if I can just get my bag open. So I've got some lovely Cormo in white, which, you know, white yarn, white fiber is not that exciting to see, but it's lovely. And then I got this very light gray. These were from different suppliers. And I will include those in the show notes because I don't think they're in the bag. Let me see. They are from Dresco Family Farm in Lonsdale, Minnesota. So I will include, like I said, I will include that in the show notes if there's anyone interested in getting some Cormo. I do have one other spinning fiber that I'll show, and that is, this is some yak. I got this at another conference that I'll talk about in a minute, the weaving conference. But this is white yak, and yak is usually gray. So I thought that was really quite amazing. I will probably spin this the way it is because I think it would felt too easily if I dyed it, and then maybe dye the yarn. But I seem to be focusing on lots of luxury stuff. So now that I've been talking about spinning a little, let me talk about Tour de Fleece. Tour de Fleece was all in the month of July, and I did it with a group, and I spun about 3 pounds of yarn. So I'll just show you some of the skeins. I did a lot of blue-green, all the different shades of it. These were all carded bats. There's another one that's close. And then this one's darker. So whether I'll use that all together or not, I'm not sure. This is some turquoise silk. And the rest that I spun were smaller amounts. This is a silk blend. Lots of cool colors in it. This one was another silk blend. I think it was cotton and silk. The orange, a little bit different. I think I had spun this and I just plied that during Tour de Fleece. This is some churro that I was trying to replicate. I'm not that good on doing a singles, and this is really over twisted, so I'm not sure what I will end up doing with it. And lots of bits of white, So Tour de Fleece is really quite fun to do with a group of people. And what that is when the Tour de France is going on, when the bikers bike, the spinners spin. When the bikers rest, the spinners rest. And then there's the feminine one that goes after that. We did all of them. So that's how I got so much spun. And then we had prizes in my group. So this is the prize that I won. And that is some Polworth and silk called Gin Fizz, and it is from Blue Savannah, which is a local dyer in Idaho Falls, but it's a fade. You see it starts out very light. And then it goes. So you really can see the difference when you look at it this way. It starts from a green, goes to a blue. I think that is going to be just a blast to spin. But Tour de Fleece is a lot of fun. If you're a spinner, I suggest you try it next year. They've been doing it, 20 plus years, I think, and it's usually run on Ravelry, and there's groups you can enter, or you can form your own group. We had a pretty good time with my groups, so I can't recommend it any higher. The other place that I went was the Intermountain Weavers Conference, and I took a class called Collage to Cartoon, which was a design for tapestry class. So I really don't have any weaving or anything to show you because it was all done on papers and things like that. So, but it was a lot of fun, and I got some fun stuff at their sale. I spent a lot of time in the vendor's booth. One of the things I bought was this, and this would be a case where I wish you could step out of the screen and feel this, because you know, a lot of times in podcasts people go, oh, this is so soft. This is probably the softest stuff I've ever had, because it is alpaca, silk, and cashmere, and it's from Wherewithal Yarns, and I'll include their information in the show notes. But it is just incredibly soft. It's going to make something very beautiful, and I'll probably dye it because I'm just not the person who would be wearing a white shawl. And then these two also I got from the same place, and this is very silky. It's got like two different kinds of silk. Let's see. It is merino, sea silk. Let me see what it's called. 51% silk, 29% extra fine merino, and 20% sea cell, which is apparently silk made out of seaweed. And it has a little honey colored, because I believe it was Tessa Silk that made this. Another one that's just lovely that I will probably dye at some point before I weave something with it. And since I was focused on tapestry, I found this tapestry warp in these two colors. It was a really, really, really good place, like 50% off. So I had to get some, and they didn't have a lot of colors. So that will be in some future use. The other thing that I got from this was from Eugene Textiles Company out of Oregon. And they had these cotton yarns on sale. Let's see if I can, well, I tried. People hold all their stuff up to the screen. I've always been fascinated how they do it. I'm pretty slow at it. Let's try it again, because I want you to be able to see all the colors. I am probably going to weave some dish towels with this. This is 16-2 cotton out of Sweden. And I will probably destroy that name, but so that's the name of the yarn. It was like 2/3 price off, so it was a deal and a half. So I did get some. And then my friend Carolyn Greenwood dyed something just for the festival, and that is these colors of yak silk. They're very kind of muted jewel tones. And my idea for this is to get some black silk somewhere. I don't have any at this point. She actually had a black, but the black yak is usually gray, like I said before, and the black that she had just wasn't dark enough, I didn't think. And it's as dark as she can get it because she's not dyeing on white. But I figure if I could get any kind of black silk, 2-ply black silk, and either separate the colors with black or like do black patterning over it, some kind of woven thing, I'm thinking. And it's being yak silk, it just feels beautiful. It's just this beautiful sheen to it. And she had lots of colors, but these are my favorite colors, so that's what I ended up getting. And the one thing that happens when you go to a weaving conference is that you go peek at what other people are doing in different workshops. And I went with a friend, and she was doing this workshop where they were using yarn that had stainless steel in it. And what ends up happening, they did different color. I wish I had a sample of it to show you, but it's still on her loom, so they can't do that. But you'd like have one color on the back, one color on the front, and when it takes it off, it just turns it into this wavy thing, and some colors show up and then some recede. It's very fascinating to see. So I thought, I want to try that. So I think since we're at this festival, I should buy the yarn and then she can teach me how to do it. So these are the yarns. So I started with the turquoise. That's going to be my main color. And then look for a complement. And I'm using this cranberry, in fact. Let me take these out of this plastic because it's no fun looking at yarns through plastic. So this is all mercerized cotton, so it definitely has a beautiful sheen. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see the sheen on there. But, and then the cranberry as a complement. And then this is the stainless steel yarn. I would not know it had stainless steel in it if someone didn't tell you. Wonder if I can get this plastic off of here and still. Oh, it's a little problematic, isn't it? Sorry for the noise. It's very, very fine. I don't know, how you could even see that. It's very fine. But it has a stainless steel core, so it reacts different from the other yarns. So that's going to be a lot of fun when I get my friend to actually teach me how to do it. So lots of fun things. Another fun thing that that's happening is I was talking to my tapestry teacher, and just in a bit of conversation was saying, well, I have these looms, but there's this fantasy loom I have, like that, an upright tapestry loom to do a big piece on, and I know that they don't make them anymore. So, if I ever find a used one or whatever. And she says, well, they come up for sale all the time. You should, just keep your eye out. And so I thought, well, that's pretty cool. And then within like a few minutes, the lady sitting behind me, she said, well, I have one. And she has a Leclerc Tessard 36-inch wide upright tapestry loom that she has just taken apart. And if I want to come get it, I can have it for free. So it turns out she lives in Arizona, which, if you've been following the weather at all, it is really, 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 really hot in Arizona right now. So I made arrangements with her to come pick it up, but we are not going to go until November when it has cooled off. So that's pretty exciting to go to a weaving conference and come back with a loom that I just have to go pick up. Pretty excited about that idea. I have no idea how I'm going to fit it in my house, but when you get things, you find a way to make it work. And I will find a way to fit that into my stuff. One other thing that sorry, this podcast is just jumping all over. It's basically because I had so much stuff. One of the things that I thought I might work on, because my friend Jana from Pearl Together, she said, let's do a knit along and rescue some projects. And I started this project a long time ago. And it is made from this Pachuco cotton. Let me see if I can find the pattern here. It's called Vivid, and it's made by Tin Can Knit. The pattern's by Tin Can Knits. And just looking to see if there's, okay. So that's sort of what it looks like in those colors, okay? But I found someone online, probably through Ravelry, who was doing it in naturally colored cottons. And this is kind of a small picture, but you can see what those look like. And so I started making these little squares. So I have 6 colors, so it makes the little star pattern when it's blocked out. And so I have white, and then I have a brown. Brown, and then there's green. And then there's this one? Okay, another white one. This one's more of a beige shade. And then a little darker. So I have 6 different colors, and it's just cotton that I had. And I thought I had a lot of them made. But you need a lot to finish this blanket. So I have, let's see, I have this many. Yeah, I think I've got them all out of there. So I've got what, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 14 of them. I mean, maybe you need 30 or 40 or something. So I pulled them out, but that's as far as I've gotten. I haven't really worked on any because I wanted to finish that sweater. But this is cotton from Peru. And it's, well, I thought I have everything wound into a ball, so I got no labels in here, but I'll put it in the show notes what kind of cotton this is. I think you still can get it, but I really like that pattern done in the natural colors versus the bright and bold colors, which is what the designers ended up doing. And I had one more thing that I was going to share, but lo and behold, it doesn't look like I brought it out here, so we'll have to share it next time. I hope that I have a little bit of finished object to actually show you next time. I'm pretty sure that the Corran cardigan will get fixed. So I hope that your knitting's all going well for you. And if you're not a knitter, your spinning is going the way you want it to. I hope you found some content today that you might have found interesting. And I hope to see you the next time. Bye.